didn't realize that one night of fun would steal 5 years of my life. Hi, I'm Angelica and welcome to my final chance. Today, I want to tell you how my gambling addiction nearly destroyed everything I love. Without wasting any more of your time, you already know me. I'm Angelica, 38 years old. I'm married, a mom of 2. And for over 5 years, I was trapped in a cycle of gambling addiction. It started so innocently, but it turned into the darkest chapter of my life. It all began very early in my work life. I had never ever gambled before. I went out with a few colleagues. We went to the casino for some drinks and everything was going really well. It was nice, the lights, the casino vibe. And out of curiosity, I tried out a slot machine. And boom, I won big. It was so unexpected. It felt so good. It was so amazing. It's something that I had never seen before. I didn't think that I was lucky in that way, but that night I felt so lucky. Plus I was tipsy. The drinks were flowing. Everything was rosy. And I left the casino that night at 9 p.m. and I went home in very joyous spirits. I felt really good about myself. I went home that night and while I was trying to fall asleep, I had flashbacks of what had happened that evening and I felt so good. It was something that I felt really happy about. 2 days later, I drove myself back to the casino. I just wanted to see if I was still lucky, if my luck was still there. And I was kind of missing the vibes of the fruity machines, the lights, the sounds, the animated screens. It felt electric. It felt addictive. Honestly, if I can say it again, it felt almost orgasmic. And I won again, but not a lot. But I think it was enough to make me feel amazing again. And you know what's the strange thing? I felt the secretive need to hide it from everyone else. I didn't even tell my colleagues that I had gone back to the casino and I had won something again. For some reason, I felt that I need to keep it under wraps. Well, soon it became a pattern whereby I'd go to work in the morning, come back from work and head straight to the casino. Every single day it became a pattern. I did that for almost that whole year. And it was in the morning, go to work, and straight after work, I'd be anxious. I can't wait to leave the office just to get to the casino. So it went on and on and on until it got worse. I started spending the entire night there. Okay, I can't tell you about this now. I'll do a separate video where I'm going to describe to you the nights that I actually spent at the casino in another video. Well, in the meantime, my job started falling apart. I was exhausted, I was unfocused, and pay days became pain days. So much pain, pain days became so painful. I was now getting very deep into the cycle. I fell into a painful cycle and, I would get paid and I'd gamble the money away and I'd borrow some more money only to gamble it away. And I was neglecting myself, my needs. And remember, by then I had very young children. This really took a toll on my relationship and it was heartbreaking because I could feel myself slipping and losing control. I was losing me, but all that time I kept telling myself that this is so much fun and I could still hit that big win that I had initially tasted when I had started this whole thing. So, and remember, I was newly married by then, so my gambling addiction threatened my relationship so badly. My spouse suspected that I was cheating because I was going on so often and I had so much to hide. And for 2 long years, my future looked so bleak. I wasn't Angelica anymore. I had become like a gambling machine of some sort. I was trapped in a gambling addiction that started so innocently, but it turned out into the darkest chapter of my life. I went on and on and on. Any amount of money that I'd get into my hand, it would go straight to the casino. I think I was somehow becoming a regular of some sort. I had been going there for a very long time. When you gamble, you get those highs and you get those lows. And during one of my lows, I had left the casino at 2 a.m. in the morning. I'll make another video about that and I'll tell you the whole story. It's so scary. sensational, scandalous. And if you've come this far in the video, I know that you have been in contact with some gambling, and so far it's becoming a bit of a problem. But don't worry, subscribe to this channel, because this is the lowdown. This is the real thing. So one day during my lows, I looked at myself in the mirror and I realized that I'm hurting myself so much. It's time I try and stop before I lose everything. Because when I looked around, my marriage was in shambles, my young children, and my life felt as if it was at stake, and I couldn't even focus at work anymore. My focus was so split. I was making a whole lot of mistakes, and my mind was elsewhere. I just couldn't wait for 5 p.m. to get out of the office and get to the casino. So I looked at myself and I decided I need to turn things around. I really don't want to do this anymore. I didn't like that feeling of losing money anymore, because I felt as if I was losing more than I was winning. Well, this is just the beginning of my story. If you're also struggling with gambling addiction, I just need you to know that you are not alone. Gambling addiction has affected a whole lot of adults, young adults and adults of our age. And it gets worse, because the older you grow gambling, the harder it is to break the cycle. But I believe that now that you're with me here on my final chance, and you've watched the video this far, I believe that together we can be able to break the chains of gambling addiction. I am Angelica once again, and this is my final chance. You can never know, this could also be your final chance at recovery. Thanks for watching. See you on the next video.